the Yankees are Carlos Rodon going crazy for 3 weeks from being unstoppable in the postseason. I really believe that. But, you have to get to that point.
You are Locked On Yankees, your daily New York Yankees podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Yankees, which is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thank you for making us your first listen every day. I'm Stacey Sully. Now, through September 22nd, all FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get a 3-week trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. With me, as always, is my co-host, Brian McKeon. Once I pull him up, hold on. There he is. There's Brian. Brian.
Be agitated, right? The way the 2 games went on the weekend, and certain guy not wearing pinstripes this weekend that we should be seeing wearing pinstripes.
We have a lot to complain about. And yeah. I know I said it I did a crossover with JD from Cardinals because he's like, you want to talk? I'm like, sure, I'm doing nothing on Friday. Why not? And I said, I know it sounds silly for someone who roots for a team that's like on the verge of winning their 80th game of the season to complain, but we have a lot of stuff to complain about, and we're going to do that today. Before we get started, don't forget, subscribe to the podcast on whichever podcasting platform you prefer. Subscribe to our channel on YouTube, like our videos, hit the bell so you're notified when those videos go live. On today's show, we'll preview the Texas Rangers series. The Yankees call up everyone, but the one guy Yankee fans wanted to see. So we're going to complain in segment 2. But first, losing to the Cardinals. Really? Really?
Yeah, I mean, it was funny. If any of you guys out there saw my SNY segment, that was literally what my thing was. The Cardinals are the most mid team in all of baseball. The definition of mid. They're so average. They're so 500. They beat teams. They lose. They're not bad. They're not good. I don't know what they are. And to lose 2 out of 3 to them, they haven't had a good record lately against bad teams. And those are the teams that you have to beat.
It's all season. It's all season. They're better against teams above 500, and they're bad against teams who are 500 or under. And it's like, we know you're not going to play these guys in the playoffs, but you have to beat bad teams. And it's not just the Yankees, because I've said this a few times in the past week. There's no clear best team in baseball, by a lot. Like there are a lot of teams going through things, and they're all basically in the same hunt for no one's going to win 100 games.
I still think for my money, I'd say it's the Phillies. I think they're the most dangerous team. I really do.
Sure.
But still, like from what you're saying, though, there's no. And we've seen this over years now. There's always been a clear-cut best team in baseball. There's no team right now. It's crazy. It's not the Dodgers, even the Phillies. Like that's to me, for my money, who I think the best team in baseball is. But they're not worlds away better than anybody. They could easily lose in the first round. It's so. I don't remember a year like this in a really long time.
I think every top team is in danger of losing in the first round,
including the Yankees.
This point. Oh yeah, definitely the Yankees.
St. Louis now is 69, nice, and 68. The most average team in all the sport, and the Yankees somehow are 79 and 56, and it doesn't remotely feel that way. You hear that record, 79 and 56, you would think they'd be beating teams left and right. It doesn't feel like they've been that good.
No, they're playing
really
they're
doesn't.
56 and 79.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't say that. I'd say, you know what? I'm not going to be honest with you. They feel like the Cardinals.
No,
they win, they lose, they win.
I will say in their losses, they play like a team that's 56 and 79 because their losses are never just losses. Their losses usually, except for the 6-5 loss where they almost came back on Saturday. Mm-hmm. But I was there on Sunday. It was a mess. Okay. The games against the Nationals, sloppy. People not hitting, the starters not pitching well. And for some reason, whenever they're on national TV, they tend to embarrass themselves for some reason. Like their losses are never normal losses. It always has to be some sort of embarrassing thing happen. They come all the way back, tie it at 7-7, and then that's bullpen falls apart. Well,
they're now 30, and 33 and 37 in their last 70 games.
Yeah.
So they're insanely average. They're under 500 actually. God bless that great start that they got off to, because they didn't get off to that, they'd be fighting for a playoff spot with how poorly they played throughout the year. So it's so weird because people will constantly ask you what your take on this team is, or what your feeling is, or what it is going into October, and all those weird things. I honestly don't know how to feel about it. Right. I don't I want to be confident. I want to go into October feeling great and roses, and they have just as good of a chance as anybody else. There are days when I feel that way. There are days when I genuinely sit here and say they have as good of a chance to win a playoff series, a World Series, a pennant in October as any other team in the whole sport. And then there are days that I feel like they're going to lose in 3 games to the wild card team. I don't know. And, yet another opportunity, Stacey, and this is where I get the most annoyed with the whole thing. Another opportunity this weekend where the Orioles didn't play the Rockies insanely well.
Right.
Another opportunity where you had a chance to make some ground and you failed to do it. The Orioles lost 2 out of 3 to the Dodgers. I believe they took 2 out of 3 to the Rockies, but they didn't play the Rockies unbelievably well at all. And, instead, look where you wind up. Same exact place that you were at the start of these 6 games. And now the White Sox the Orioles get the White Sox. And you get the Texas Rangers, who, again, are like the Cardinals. Very average. But in this series, we're going to talk about it later, but you're going to get Nathan Eovaldi, who the Yankees historically can't touch.
Yeah. So the Yankees are 39-39 since June 1st.
I mean,
completely
as average could be. It's just, and I don't know. Again, I don't know how to feel about it because you look back on years like, how good were the Arizona Diamondbacks last year at this time?
Mm-hmm.
Like they were this exact same team. They weren't great throughout the entire year. They were very average throughout the entire year. They just kind of felt like they were floating. They were winning 2 out of 3, losing 2 out of 3, splitting 4-game series. Nothing felt special about them. And then all of a sudden the playoffs hit and Zach Gallen is prime Cy Young. And you don't know what to expect. And they're great. So it is very weird and very hard to tell what these teams are going to be. And the Yankees are Carlos Rodon going crazy for 3 weeks from being unstoppable in the postseason. I really believe that. But, you have to get to that point. And you have to somehow, you can't go into, I know the Yankees love preaching crapshoot, but you can't go into the postseason hoping that you're the luckiest team in the crapshoot this time. Because it's going to come around where you're not going to be the luckiest team in the crapshoot. And you know what? That's happened every, let's consider this, run for the sake of the conversation since 2017, right? We'll call it 2018 because 2017, they didn't really know what they had and it took them by surprise. If you call it by 2018, every year in those 6 playoff runs, it's been a crapshoot and they've lost in the crapshoot every single time. The roulette wheel has never fallen on theirs. And you know what? The funny thing about the roulette wheel in this game is it falls on one of 6 teams. So you have a lot better of an opportunity. It falls on one of 8 teams, one of 10 teams. You have a lot better of an opportunity to win. And for some reason, every single time, it's them coming up short. And, I do look at the American League this year and say, Stacey, look at it. What team can't they beat? What team in the American League are they? You look at that series and go, they've A, got no chance against this team, or B, Vegas is going to look at them and say, oh, the opposing team is going to be minus 300 against the Yankees. That team doesn't exist. That team is not in the American League where they have as good of a chance this year, I think, as ever to win a pennant. And then I look at it, if they go into a series right now against Houston, are you unbelievably confident? And Houston's not Houston, right? Like Houston is not what they've been over the last few years. And then you look at them and you go, the Yankees aren't going to beat them. It's very confusing. It really is.
Yeah, because even with the way the Orioles were beating up on them in the beginning of the year, the Orioles have their own problems,
Yeah.
And at this point, I wouldn't be as worried in an Orioles-Yankees series as I would have been if they were playing the same way they did in the beginning of the season, because the Yankees were playing well against everyone else, but they could not beat the Orioles to save their lives. And
your big advantage in a series like that, though, is the Orioles' youth, right? I mean, you got a lot of young players who haven't played in electric environments, and
the Yankees have that.
Well, I know, but inserting those young players into the Bronx is not a pretty sight for young players. It doesn't always work out for young players like that, especially teams that are built on pitching. That's why, a team that scares me that then they could absolutely make a run is the Kansas City Royals.
Oh, the Royals, definitely.
They're young, they're fun, they're built on pitching. They're a tough out. But I think you put those young pitchers in Yankee Stadium, and it's 48 degrees outside. It's a little chilly out, and the crowd's going absolutely crazy, throwing beers into the bullpen. That's not an environment. That's not an environment young pitchers thrive on. It's not. So I think, I give them the advantage in that. I give him the advantage in Adley Rutschman having to go up in the 8th inning for an at-bat where the crowd is going absolutely crazy and he's got to face Tommy Kahnle or something. I don't think that he's got the advantage in that spot. I don't. But, That's what's so weird, though. I could picture the Yankees, being a really impossible team against the Royals or the Orioles in a spot like that at home. And then they play the Cardinals at home and they can't touch them. Or they lose a game to the White Sox, or they lose, you look at these series later on in the year, they lose 2 out of 3 to the Nationals. And it's like you sit there and you go, they play the good teams and you could absolutely see them winning. And then they play the terrible teams and you go, what just happened here? They're an unbelievably confusing team. And every single time I look at their record, I go, how in the hell are they 23 games above 500? It feels like they're 4 games over and they're just scraping by. I don't get this team. It's very confusing.
Yeah, and they're annoying. And we're going to talk about why they're annoying coming up in segment 2. I almost said section 2. Don't forget, subscribe to the channel, hit the like button on our videos, hit the notification so you know when our videos go live. Also, reply to the pinned comment on our Monday through Thursday videos, because you can leave your questions for Fan Mail Friday. We will answer them, but not first. Locked On Yankees insiders get the questions first. The link is in the description. You'll get text from us. You can text us questions and reactions. I saw that there were 8 unread messages. I did not read them because I can't access it from my phone, but I saw it on the train home from the game. Because as you all know, I sat through that game. I sat through the entire game. Till the last out, I sat there. So
real fan.
I am, Anyway, coming up, the Yankees call everyone up except the one guy we wanted.
You've heard us talk a lot about FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. But we have something a little different for you. Now through September 22nd, all FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get a free 3-week trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Then with the YouTube TV base plan, you'll be able to watch every single regular season Sunday afternoon out of market game. All you'll need is a Google account and a current form of payment, and you can cancel any time. Guys, week 1 of college football. It's here. It just ended. I mean, you can't ask for a better time of year, right? College football, hockey, baseball, basketball, college basketball, NFL. It's all happening. And you can bet and make money on all of it through FanDuel. All you have to do is visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and download America's #1 sportsbook. Welcome back, and thank you for making Locked On Yankees your first listen today. And for your second listen, make sure you make it the Locked On MLB podcast. Host Paul Sullivan, a.k.a. Sully, is here daily to provide you national expertise with his trademark humor that helps you get ready for the MLB playoffs. Prepare for the Fall Classic with Sully, who has it all covered every single day on Locked On MLB. It's available on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. It's part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And don't forget that you can catch every pitch of the Yankees hometown broadcast with SiriusXM. Just download the SXM app and search the word Yankees. Stacey, as Yankee fans, we're kind of annoyed. I got to be honest with you. Today was September call-ups, and I was looking forward to seeing a certain name in the lineup, and that name did not appear, and I don't know if it's going to appear. And it questions to me, honestly, whether or not they're too concerned about winning. Honestly, that's where I'm at, because that's how it feels. We'll get into that in a second. I want to give out an honorable mention first, Stacey. Do you know who announced his formal retirement from Major League Baseball today?
No.
Greg Bird, former Yankee great.
I saw something on Instagram.
Baseball. So sad. A career the Yankees thought was going to be one of the most outstanding. They believed in this kid for so long. Never turned out. Nice lefty swing, but congratulations on your retirement, Greg Bird. Yay. Let's move on. The Yankees today entered the day calling up Anthony Rizzo. You knew that was going to happen. They sent down Ben Rice. I will say this. I don't give any sympathy to Ben Rice here. He had every opportunity to win a spot. He had every opportunity to make the Yankees' decision of whether to play Rizzo or him impossible coming up to now, and he didn't do it. Now, if you want to question whether he should have stayed up or LeMahieu should have been cut, we can get into that discussion whenever you want. But Ben Rice is a cheaper salary with more options, and you saw this coming. He had every opportunity to stay on this roster, and he couldn't make it happen. Your thoughts?
DJ LeMahieu shouldn't have been playing, and Ben Rice could have had more opportunities because they let Volpe go through his ups and downs all the time. He could be slumping for 2 months, and they keep him there. So I don't quite agree with that, but I think it's wrong of them to have wasted Ben Rice's time when they were just going to stick with DJ LeMahieu. They should have put him down earlier.
I'd sort of agree with you, but there's time for Ben Rice. They also called up Ron Marinaccio and Efros. They both give up home runs, so they're midseason form. And Duke Ellis, who apparently runs really fast. So we needed them all called up. Now let's discuss the one guy that you're all thinking about that wasn't called up, and that would be Jasson Dominguez, also known as the Martian. Stacey, let me start it off by reading the quote from Aaron Boone, who in his press conference was specifically asked about why all these call-ups and no Dominguez, where it sort of felt like a fait accompli around all of baseball that he was going to get called up, right? Everyone seemed to think that Dominguez was getting called up. The quote was, when he comes up here, you're going to want him to play every single day. It's important right now that he plays every day. Stacey, I'm just going to ask a simple question of you. Who was going to play every single day and block play time from Jasson Dominguez? Because what you're insinuating by that quote is that Alex Verdugo was going to need to play every single day over Dominguez. Mm-hmm. And if you actually believe that, you're insane. And you're not committed to winning. Because Alex Verdugo, in his last 61 games, is hitting 197 with a 539 OPS and 2 home runs. That's outrageously bad.
Yeah.
And Dominguez, who had been struggling, homered in his last at-bat in AAA, which we thought it was in his last at-bat in AAA. And in his last 14 games, remember, he was going through that struggling period, and people were like, oh, they're going to call him up. He was struggling. In his last 14 games in AAA, he's hitting 383 with 3 home runs and a 1.039 OPS, which is essentially double in all the categories Verdugo has done over the last 60 games. I don't know how you can claim you're at a commitment to winning by not calling this player up. He's one of the top prospects in all of baseball. He has proven to you that he can play at the major league level because he did it last year and had big home runs for them last year at the end of the year. You're not killing service time at this point by calling up in September at this point. It doesn't hurt you because the guy that's playing in front of Dominguez is a 0 at the plate since early May. Stacey, I beg of you, because you're sometimes, most of the time, all of the time, the brains of the show. What in the world is the reason to not call him up? I can't think of one, and I'm trying to sympathize with the organization, and I'm trying, for the sake of the thousands of people that download our show and listen to our show every single day, and we appreciate you guys so much. I am trying, for the love of God, to think of a reason why to play devil's advocate, or just to give you guys a reason of this could be why they don't want to call Dominguez up. I can't come up with one. So maybe you can, maybe our listeners can, maybe the insiders can. I don't know who it is, but Aaron Boone couldn't give you a good reason. And he's supposed to be at the forefront of all of this. His reason was he's not going to play every day. In front of who? Why would he not play over Verdugo? I can't anymore. To me, and I don't like being the accuser of this, and I don't like coming up with this argument because I don't think it's fair, because everyone's getting paid a lot of money and everyone's working really hard at their job to make this team as successful as possible. But how could you possibly convince me that there is a commitment to winning when you have the top prospect in all of baseball who you know is capable of playing at the major league level, and you don't call him up when it doesn't kill any service time? Again, he's on the 40. He gets paid like a major leaguer, whether you call him up tomorrow, yesterday, a month ago, 2 months later. He's paid like a major leaguer regardless. His time is ticking regardless. What are we doing? I mean, this is the 1 year where you have Juan Soto, and it's not. I know everyone thinks he's going to stay. And I know the Bleacher Creatures can chant, please stay Soto. And I know Soto can make all these comments where you think he's going to stay. We have seen crazier stuff in history where a player has signed at a different place when you didn't expect it coming out of anywhere. New Yorkers, you got it right in front of you. Jalen Brunson, Artemi Panarin, all players that you didn't think had a prayer of signing with your team, and he signed here for less money. Who the heck knows? Maybe Juan Soto wants to be a Royal, and we have no idea. You don't know what's going to happen, and this is the 1 year where it's guaranteed he's on your year, and he damn near would win the MVP if Aaron Judge weren't playing like prime Babe Ruth. What is the reason to not add this player? To keep Alex Verdugo on your roster? If you can come up with the reason, I beg you to. If any of our insiders can, if a listener, I don't get it, Stacey.
I don't get it either. I don't understand the loyalty to Verdugo because
who's been here for a cup of coffee.
Right. Like, because he barked in the beginning of the season. Like, I don't understand. I don't get it. I really don't. This team
You want to know
does
what Yankee left
things.
fielders are doing this year? Let me read you the stats of Yankee left fielders this season, Stacey. They are hitting .218, which is 27th in all of baseball. Their on base percentage is .299. It's under 300. Their on base percentage at 21st in all of baseball. Their slugging is .346 at 28th in all of baseball. Their OPS is .645, 27th in all of baseball. Their WAR is 1.1, 20th in all of baseball. At bare minimum, Dominguez could do that and still get the experience of playing at the major league level. And he's not going to do that. I can almost certainly guarantee you Dominguez will not do that in the last month of the season. Because, and these numbers are what Yankee left fielders have done this year. Let's construe that stat and change it a little bit. That's what Alex Verdugo has done this year. It's a nice way of putting, because Verdugo has played a majority of the Yankees games this year in left field. All right. So that's the Yes Network. That was a screenshot that I took during the game. That's the Yes Network sugarcoating that thing and not wanting to blast on the screen. Alex Verdugo stinks. Because that's what that box says. And Alex Verdugo has played essentially all of the games for them, other than Aaron Judge playing 1 or 2 games for them in left field this year. Alex Verdugo has pretty much played all of their games in left field this year. So I don't know. Again, I've been trying all day to think of the reason you could possibly have for why Dominguez would not get called up. It genuinely, wholeheartedly makes 0 sense. And it makes me question whether there legitimately is a commitment to winning or not. It really does.
Well, I saw someone say on Twitter that the Yes Network was basically like carrying water for the organization. Like Paul O'Neill was like, well, we don't know what Dominguez is going to do. And, maybe it's okay that they did call him up.
We've seen what he can do.
Right.
We've seen him play.
What are you talking about? He hit his first home run off Justin Verlander in Houston on the first pitch there. Was it the first pitch or the second pitch that he saw in Major League Baseball? Like, what are you talking about? We don't know what he's going to do.
The kid's been coined the Martian since he was like 15 years old. I mean, I don't want to hear it anymore. And essentially, too, this is another thing that bothers me is look around the sport, Stacey. All of the sport is floored or flooded with kids who are 20 years old coming up and killing it, right? And the Adley Rutschmans and the Jackson Holidays and the Bobby Witt Jr. is going to finish second in the MVP behind Judge this year. He's like the same age. Like, why not let Dominguez come up and go through a spell of, now who knows? Alex Verdugo could get hurt tomorrow and they call Dominguez immediately, and this is all a moot point. But to not call him up immediately, there is no justifiable explanation for why they would have done this.
Mm-hmm.
And I wish I had one.
Yeah. It's just, it's really, it's just annoying. It's frustrating. It's annoying. I say it all the time. They always say, we're trying to win. We're trying to win. Well, if you're trying to win, stop trotting the corpse of Alex Verdugo out.
Or DJ LeMahieu.
Yeah.
All these moves, right? I mean, like I sit here too, and I think about, the Nestor start, which we didn't get to mention in the first segment. But he comes out and pitches well against a bunch of bad teams, and we all get some confidence back that Nestor Cortez could he get a playoff start? Because Nestor Cortez is Nestor Cortez. We know what he is now, right? He goes up against a semi-average team, and he gives up 5 runs. That's what Nestor Cortez is. He plays a bad team, and he's a very, very, very serviceable 5th pitcher. But he's not a guy that's getting a playoff start. So don't convince me that he is because you like him because he's a good dude. That's what it feels like DJ LeMahieu was on the roster still for.
Yeah. All right. Coming up next, maybe we'll complain about this a little more, and then we'll preview Yankees Rangers, which begins tonight in Arlington. Do you love going to live events? If you do, there's something about the energy, being there in person, that's unbeatable. And I have so many fun memories at Yankee Stadium, maybe not Sunday's game, but most games that I go to. And I'm looking forward to making more of them, possibly later in the year. And with Game Time, it's never been easier to get tickets. They've got a new feature called Game Time Picks, which does all the hard work for you. So instead of searching through thousands of tickets, Game Time Picks filters out the fluff and shows you only the absolute best deals on great seats. Even better, Game Time breaks it down into different tiers. So it's all right there, whether you want a premium experience or just the best bang for your buck. Oh, and one of my favorite features, you get a panoramic view from your seat in the app, so you know exactly what you're getting. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and use code LOCKEDONMLB. That's LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It's game time. Welcome back to Locked On Yankees. Remember, you can catch every pitch of the Yankees hometown broadcast with SiriusXM. Just download the SXM app and search the word Yankees. All right, so segment 2 was a little punchy. What's the word?
Sure.
Right?
I'll take that.
Yeah. With good reason, because honestly, when I saw the tweet that announced all the players who were coming up, and I saw Duke Ellis's name. No offense, Duke Ellis. I don't know you. I don't know what you look like. I don't know anything about you.
All I know is he's fast.
Right. So when I saw that, I was like, because I joked with one of my friends on Saturday evening. I said, I'm going to the game on Sunday. If Jasson Dominguez is not there, I'm going to start a riot. Now, I did not start a riot. I really wanted to.
You should.
And if I were closer to the dugout, I would have yelled at them, but I was up in the upper deck, so I couldn't, because I wanted to be like, you're losing because you didn't call up Dominguez. I mean, I know that's not the real reason, but it's funny. I was so aggravated. I was so aggravated because what I was going to say in the last segment, this team always talks about winning. We want to win. We want to win. We want to win.
It's all about championships, right?
And then they do things like this. And it's like, well, you don't want to win. You obviously don't want to win. You say you want to win, but you're not doing what you need to do to win. You're not putting the best product out on the field because you keep trotting these guys out who are batting like my highest weight ever, which is not great. Or batting below my highest weight ever, which is really not great, you know? And the thing that annoyed me about Sunday's game is that one guy who was like 5 for 5. He came into the game batting like 150. And he raised his batting average to like 175 because he went 5 for 5. There were a number of guys in the Cardinals lineup that were batting 130, 170, and they had 21 hits? 21 hits? It is so frustrating watching this team. So when the front office does stuff like this, why do you think they want to win? They just want to coast, because you mentioned it before. They just want to coast into the playoffs. Could you imagine, and I hate saying this because I don't want to sound like, oh, if George were alive. Could you imagine Derek Jeter saying that? Well, it's a crapshoot.
No.
So if we get into the playoffs, it'll be fine. No, and he still says it now. You want to win a World Series. That should be the goal every year when you come into training camp. Win a World Series. That's it. That's the goal. You put that up on the board. Your vision board.
Go out and do it. Right? Don't talk about it. Don't talk about how get into the. Go out and win the World Series. They don't have that. They want to build a roster good enough to get you to October.
Yeah.
That's it.
They don't want a roster that will get you through October, just into October, and then, oh, let's see what happens. That's basically what they're doing right now. Let's see what happens, because it's a crapshoot. Who knows? That's not how you're supposed to build a baseball team.
No.
It's not. You're supposed to build a baseball team that can actually take you through October. That's the goal. That's what the Yankees used to do. I don't know when the hell that stopped happening. Well, I do know because it's been a while since they've made it through October and to the promised land. I mean, you know, yes, they made the ALCS in 17, 19, 22. We know how they ended, but 22, I don't even like thinking about that ALCS because they did nothing. They did nothing, got swept out, embarrassed. They kept putting the corpse of Josh Donaldson up, who kept staring at pitches and not swinging the bat at anything. This is it's so annoying. Like I was livid at the game. Like I was livid before the game, you know, and just the way they played and they came back. And as soon as they tied it at 7-7, but then the inning ended, I was like, bullpen's going to screw this up. I know it. I can feel it.
Beyond frustrating.
I feel it in my bones. I'm like, I don't even feel like this is going to be a win. And sure enough, and so embarrassing, just beyond embarrassing.
If you want to have some faith, they go into a series against the Texas Rangers, who won the World Series last year, also as a mid team. So they struggled all year last year and somehow won the World Series. So I guess there's faith in that sense. Monday's game, 8:05 p.m. It'll be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, this series. They have an off day on Thursday. Every game starts at 8:05 p.m. Likely right now, what will be the Yankees game 1, 2, and 3 pitching rotation in a playoff series?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, this is what it would be. Garrett Cole, 5-3 with a 3.86 ERA. He goes against, I believe now it's Leiter, right?
Jack Leiter.
It's Jack Leiter. One of the top pitching prospects in all of baseball. Game 2 will be Carlos Rodon, 14-9 with a 4.31. He'll go against Nathan Eovaldi, who's 10-7 with a 3.60. But against the Yankees, Nathan Eovaldi is 70-0 with a 0.00 ERA.
Or it feels like that, yeah.
And then Wednesday, you'll get Marcus Stroman, 10-6 with a 3.81 ERA, going up against John Gray, who's 5-6 with a 4.47. I will say this: the Yankees did get slightly lucky because Jacob deGrom is now one rehab start away from returning to the Major League team. And let me just, for context, I might have lost the tweet by now, but I did have on here, it's gone, what Jacob deGrom has done in his 3 rehab starts back with the Texas Rangers AAA team. He's given up 1 run in 3 starts. He's gone 5 innings in all 3 starts. He has struck out 25 hitters. So Jacob deGrom is back. So the Yankees do avoid that at least.
Yeah, I mean, that's good. But, you have Jack Leiter, never faced him, could make them look really silly. Stuff. You have Eovaldi that, they occasionally will hit, but it's very rare. And then you have John Gray, who's in that wheelhouse, 4.47 ERA. Disaster. This could be a disaster for the Yankees. Take
out another mortgage on your house and bet on John Gray to have a quality start, because that's the Yankees kryptonite right there. 10-6, 5-6, 4.47. Oh, the Yankees. That is the definition of a guy the Yankees can't touch.
Yep. Yeah. All right. What a fun show.
Yeah.
But
lots of energy.
The thing is, you're all as frustrated as we are, and I know that the chat is going to be on fire right now. Like I'm looking into the future, and I know the chat is going to be woo. So Jared Williams, shout out to you, because I know you are not very happy right now.
You guys,
Jared is in the chat every night. I'm going to give him a shout out. Jared is there every night, and he's so frustrated when this team loses, and I get it. I understand. And like I said, I sat through that entire loss on Sunday. Why? I'm a glutton for punishment, apparently. Who knew? One more time. You can catch the Yankees on SiriusXM, the hometown broadcast. You can download the SXM app, search the word Yankees. You will find it. Also, thank you for making Locked On Yankees your first listen today. Now go check out Locked On MLB. Prepare for the Fall Classic with Sully, who has it all covered every single day. You can find the link to Locked On MLB in the description, so you don't need to search. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And we have exciting news to share. Not only do we cover your team every day, but now we're giving you instant episodes after every single game. Check out the Locked On Yankees postcast right here on Locked On Yankees, as well as streaming on Locked On Sports New York. It's a new YouTube channel. It's starting this week. You get rapid reaction to all the biggest moments with the Locked On Yankees postcast. We will be on that after games and stuff to discuss it, and it's going to be pretty cool. It's a cool thing that Locked On's doing. They've done it in a couple of cities, and now New York gets a postcast, which is very exciting. So that'll do it for this edition of Locked On Yankees. I'm Stacey Gotsulias.
And I'm Brian McKeon. We'll see y'all tomorrow.